Hey guys, so I thought I would make a video on some of the FUD comments that I'm seeing that I get in YouTube videos and just some of the manipulation that goes on and really the bullshit in just believing people that are in high positions that are quite influential. I just want to show you a few things. So sorry that some of this is quite fuzzy, but I just pulled a few. Just one person was saying a few things on one of my YouTube videos, and I was just interested in digging into it deeper. So firstly, got no hate for this person. It's all good. I like hearing FUD so I can look into it, see if it's true, and if it is true, I know to get out of a project. So I always respect hearing FUD, but then at times I start looking and go, oh, is this just someone making up stuff to try and cause issues? So I'm going to dig into that really quick and just see what this person was saying about QUBIC. So they said, firstly, QUBIC is a high cap pump and dump on zero exchanges. Now, that's just untrue straight away because QUBIC's on several, I think 3, maybe 4 exchanges right now. It's not on any major exchanges yet, but as I posted here at the bottom, it's really, really close to happening. Then they said that the IOTA developer is well-known pump and dumper. Nexa, IOTA, all certainly pump and then drop. Now, right, let's break down that sentence because a lot of things are wrong. So when he says IOTA developer, he means Sergey Ivancheglo, who is the creator of QUBIC. Now, Sergey was more than a developer with IOTA. He was one of the co-creators of that project. Then he went on to create a project called NXT, not called Nexa, he created NXT before he created IOTA. So NXT was the first true proof of stake platform. IOTA was one of the first true DAG platforms, and he was the creator of NXT, one of the co-creators of IOTA. He said then that both these projects certainly pumped and then dropped, and he said that he's a pump and dumper. Now, it is true that both NXT and IOTA in the 2017 bull market both had huge runs during that bull market. A lot of people made a lot of money. I think IOTA had a return of something like 614,000% from its initial when it went through an ICO. NXT I think was 500,000%. So huge returns, and it's true like the rest of the crypto market that after that those projects dropped quite a bit. But those projects are still in existence, and they're still both projects that are developing and have a lot of support. And then I think it's worth noting that, a lot of people are really angry that Ivancheglo left IOTA because they know that he was one of the genius brains behind the project. But Ivancheglo fell out with the project because he didn't, they just had disagreements. And well, I don't know whether that's a good or a bad thing, but that's what happened. Now, what's interesting is, that IOTA, and then if you check this person's name, you can see IOTA is one of the first words in their name. So they're obviously someone who is a supporter of IOTA and hates Sergey for leaving and is trying to FUD QUBIC. And here's the thing, I just have so much issue with how people support projects like they're supporting sports teams. Like, I even think sometimes it's silly for a grown man to support a soccer team, but to support projects, I don't support QUBIC. I just have been reading up on it, and I think the project looks really promising. I know some people are interested in the videos, so I'm going to make the videos. I've invested in the project. I think I could make a lot of money out of it. I'm sharing information with you guys. If QUBIC starts turning out as scammy and it's not what it was meant to be, I'm not going to support it to the death. Or if QUBIC doesn't perform as well as I expected, I'm not going to support it to the death. I'm going to sell the fucking thing. And I'm going to make videos and be like, well, that was shit. Jesus, I was tricked on that one, but here's what I'm focused on now. Because, I don't have a crystal ball, but I'm just taking the information that's there that I can see, and it looks like a great project. But this thing of supporting projects and following them all the way through, just crazy to me. So then he said here that, actually, I'm going to leave this line to last, what he said there. But he said that it's already a high cap. The R&R, so the risk to return is definitely not there. How can you say it's a safe bet? So he's saying that I'm bullshitting people by saying that QUBIC is a safe bet to invest in right now. So it's not it is, I guess, a high cap project if you consider that it's around a 500 million market cap right now. What I'm saying is that I don't see, in my humble opinion, any way that QUBIC does not increase in value. So maybe that's going to a market cap of $1 billion. Maybe it's going to a market cap of 2 billion or 3 billion, and that's it. But I kind of expect QUBIC to go anywhere from 10 billion to 30 billion. And I think over time, if it achieves what it says that it's going to achieve, it could go way, way higher than that. So what I'm just saying is that if you put money into QUBIC now, kind of like any investment, if you put money into a managed fund investment, for example, you're expecting a 3 or 4% return year on year from that investment. I'm saying with QUBIC, I'm thinking that worst case scenario, you're probably going to get 100% return on it. Could be wrong, I don't know, but that's why I think the risk return ratio on it's great, is that even if it fails and does miserably, I think if you sell it at the right time, it will be successful. And here's the thing. This guy has admitted that all of Sergey's projects certainly pump and then they dump. Maybe that will happen with QUBIC, and that's why I plan on selling most of my QUBIC over the next year, or at least by the middle of 2025. I wanted to pump. I don't really care if it dumps after. I hope it's a successful project, but I'm not supporting it. I just want to be here for the pump, and we're at the beginning of a bull market, and most likely Sergey, being a well-known pumper, let's forget about the dumper. Who cares about whether a price dumps after? Being a well-known pumper, he's most likely decided to release this project now and get it geared up for a big bull run, so it does pump then. And then he said it doesn't even have a one tier 3 listing. It does. It's on 3 exchanges right now. Getting listed on MEXC won't pump 5 billion into it. It won't be listed on any top 1 exchanges this cycle. Maybe it won't be listed on any top exchanges this cycle. I don't know, but this guy doesn't know either. But as we can see here, QUBIC has said that they've prepared everything for listings on top exchanges, and they've added the RPC infrastructure. So they are gearing up to be listed on top exchanges. Getting listed on any exchange isn't going to pump a project to 5 billion or to any price, but it can help. But what's going to pump the project is the fact that people get exposed to it, and the project is successful and it's hitting milestones, and apps are being built on it, and an ecosystem has been built on it, which leads to burns and a deflating supply. So I call bullshit on all this already, but one thing that he said is even Uphold's researcher, and I heard about this from my father-in-law, and if you're watching this, Noel, I think this is who you're talking about, but even Uphold's researcher and former Binance researcher said to stay away from his projects. And so since I heard that a few times, I was like, I really want to look into that and see if it's true, because I want to hear about the FUD, then discover, is the FUD true or is it untrue? So what I did was I checked out this guy called Dr. Martin. Not going to try and pronounce his second name because I'm awful at that. I wanted to see what he said about QUBIC. So I went to all his tweets about QUBIC and I checked to see what they said. So firstly, things that I noticed was the first tweet that or one of the first tweets was he was saying, that if they are keen to land on major platforms, they should know better than to promise listings. It's a big red flag for most and will leave them reliant on DeFi. So it means decentralized platforms. So QUBIC has not been saying that they're promising any listings. They just promise that listings are coming in the future, and that they're working hard at it. I don't see anything wrong with that. So that's one thing that they said. So many cryptos are doing that and doing much worse. Then he said, don't compare Tau and QUBIC with a laughy face. Funny enough, I think that's I agree with him, because looking into both these projects, I think Tau does not compare to QUBIC personally. I think Tau looks like an incredible project. I think QUBIC looks like a better project, but Tau is obviously more developed. But Tau hasn't been around that long either. And Tau listed on Binance yesterday, or got announced that was going to list on Binance yesterday. QUBIC, same thing. It's over the next year, it could list on Binance. QUBIC to me looks like a stronger project, and it's definitely a stronger project in terms of having a lower market cap right now and could have a better return than Tau. Not insulting Tau, by the way, there. Just QUBIC looks better than me. If I hear, again, I'm not supporting a project. If I hear contradictory evidence and I start to believe that Tau is a better project, I'll jump to Tau and I'll talk about Tau and say QUBIC, isn't as good as Tau. But right now, that's where my head's at. So next then is where, the stuff from Dr. Martin got really kind of just weird is he said, don't call for this QUBIC scam on exchange that is also a Russian scam with zero transparency. That is the last I have to say on this idiot topic. So that's just absolute bullshit. QUBIC is not a scam. It clearly... Look, I don't know. Some things can be a scam. I never want to say something's not a scam. QUBIC clearly does not seem like a scam. So that appears to be rubbish. There's plenty of things listed on Uphold that I'm sure are actual scams or closer to scams than QUBIC. QUBIC is at least trying to build a very strong project, and it does seem to be a great project. But again, I never know anything for 100% certain. Then responding to someone that was saying, good things about the creator of QUBIC, and he said he is none of these things. He said he didn't found IOTA; he was fired from it. So that is not true. He was not fired from IOTA. He had fallouts with some of the other team, and he left the company. He was one of the lead developers in IOTA, and he was like the genius brain behind IOTA, and people are really upset that he left. And some of what this Dr. Martin guy is saying is making me think that he is an IOTA investor, because it's just weird they saying this stuff. Then he kind of comes back to say, I think this is what caused a lot of the issues initially. He said that he's been through the QUBIC white paper 3 times now, and it still doesn't make sense, highly skeptical. For QUBIC doesn't actually have a white paper right now. As they say, their code is the white paper right now. It's open source. Anyone can look through their code. What they do have is a preliminary white paper, which I've read through. You're welcome to read through it yourself right now. It does make sense. It's really simple what they're doing. They're creating a layer 1 project for where they have oracles on it. They can run transactions. They can run smart contracts. You can build decentralized apps, basically just like Ethereum, but it's a quorum technology. And what it can do is it basically solves the blockchain trilemma. So it's secure, it's scalable, and it's decentralized. And then the big picture of it is that they're taking that proof of work mining power and they're putting it towards training artificial intelligence. So I believe if he really looked at that white paper and tried to understand it, he would understand it. And again, makes me think that this guy's FUDing QUBIC on purpose, and makes me think that someone that's a leading researcher for something like Uphold really makes me question, should they be posting things like this, FUDing projects, just because they don't understand it and they feel threatened by it? I don't know. And then he gets on to Sergey Ivancheglo, who did cause some issues with saying that he pointed out a vulnerability in CAS. I don't think Sergey Ivancheglo should have done that, but this guy said, and this is the self-aggrandizing bullshit. I don't really mind him saying that. Maybe he's right about that part, so that's fine. But he says that self-aggrandizing bullshit from a man who's run 3 crypto projects into ruin. Jesus. I say Jesus to that, because Sergey Ivancheglo has run only 2 crypto projects so far, and QUBIC is his 3rd, which he's obviously couldn't have run it into ruin yet. So that should be a 2, I guess, if you're talking about that. Both of those projects, NXT and IOTA, are still successful projects that are going well. Now, this is a guy that just said on this last topic that this guy didn't found IOTA, he was fired from it. But then on this tweet, he's saying that this guy ran IOTA into ruin. So he's not the creator, he's nothing to do with it, he was fired from it, but he ran it into the ground, basically. Really what happened with IOTA is Sergey Ivancheglo wanted to do so much more of that project, but the rest of the team didn't agree with it. So he said, fine, I've got a better idea, and I'm going to do that with QUBIC. And he moves over to QUBIC. Both NXT and IOTA listed on top exchanges, two of the biggest projects ever in the crypto space, two OG projects, and this guy's saying he's run them into ruin, and both projects are still running right now, and are still working on real world use cases. It's just that Sergey Ivancheglo has moved to work on a project that he thinks is better and matches his vision of the future. So this Dr. Martin guy, don't know a lot else about him, but if this is the guy that's researching for Uphold, it definitely seems like this guy is more like the scammer to me, that he's trying to FUD projects for no good reason, getting into arguments online. Not very professional for a lead researcher for Uphold, former researcher for Binance, and not, just not very professional for a guy that apparently is a doctor. So that's all I have to say on the subject. Love for everyone. Dr. Martin can still get back in my good books. I'm still not supporting QUBIC as something that is like a football team. I don't even support any particular football team. I'm just looking for the projects that will get the best returns and making videos about them. That is all, guys. I will see you on the outside.